I'd like to turn over the session to Clark Kooning, MMR, who's going to talk to us about his building of the Downtown Deco little bar. And I really do appreciate you doing this, Clark. Thank you so very much. And I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Turn on some light. We're good. All right. So this is part 2. And actually, it's sort of part 3. We did the promo for this. And then we built the first part. And this should be part number 2, if we can get it to. There we go. Oh, I got to move you guys out of the way so I can see what I'm talking about. There we go. All right. So one of the things for any model is simply paint your structures. I've been to layouts where, you know, they've assembled every Atlas plastic building and not one drop of paint on it. Paint your models. You'll get a much more professional look. And in this particular case, you have to paint it for this model. The paint samples that I've given you before are the just the Craft Mart or the Folk Art or Americana or the Smart to Craft or Craft Smart from Michael's, whatever the paint is, the cheap stuff is good. We're in this case, we're using some wine, some neutral gray, a little orange, and some milk chocolate and burnt umber. So now this is a change from the instructions. In the instructions, they tell you to paint the whole structure in the brick color of your choice. I prefer not to do that. I really like to paint the details sort of first and then the brickwork. And the reason is usually the details are of a lighter color. And the general rule that I follow is hydrocal will absorb the first color. Even though we've sealed it to some extent, it will still take that first color on much easier, and it will almost repel the second color. Okay, so but we did seal it, so you should be able to mix the paint around to prevent that actually soaking in. But generally, I still try and follow this idea, and it's sort of the opposite to doing rock work. You don't want anything on the rock work. You want the paint to actually, or the stain to actually soak in. Okay, so here's a painting example. So the top rock work, sort of the detail stuff, was all done first. The brick then was painted. And when you come to the edge, if you don't get very, like, you're afraid to get the paint onto the sort of random stone, don't worry about it. As long as you get close. We're going to cover that anyway with a wash, and you'll never see it. Okay. And that's what ties it in. As I said, so we're using a light gray, an orange, a milk chocolate, burnt umber, and the black. So this is a technique. Washing or wash is it's really to highlight the shadows by allowing a thin mixture of paint. And what happens is the darker colors flow into the cracks and crevices. And you want to brush it over the whole entire area. The color will sort of fall off the high surfaces and stay in the cracks. Now you have to be a little careful with this. You have to make sure it's thin. You don't want a lot of pigment in that wash, or else you're just painting rather than washing the surface. So to apply the wash, you want to drag your brush with a watery, real watery paint away from the, in this case, we don't want to do it on the foundation. So we're going to go across or away from the foundation. And you don't want to drag the brush the length of the brick. You want to go across the brick, and you want to really go from top to bottom on your brickwork. This will deposit the wash and the cracks and the depressions. And if you got it a little uneven, and I'll show you when we do the little live demo, you can just add a little water. But remember, brick is not totally even. One thing that a lot of people don't know, when brick buildings are built, there's usually two types of brick involved. The sides and back are usually what they call builder's brick. It is the cheapest brick that the contractor can buy. The front is usually an upgraded brick. and you'll see a difference. You'll sometimes even see a stark color difference in the front of the building compared to the other three walls. So you want to make sure you get this fairly even over the surface. Now, sometimes you'll get, if you have a little dirt or something in there, it will eventually leave a ring or get splotchiness. That really isn't all that bad in brickwork. If you're doing something else, it's a bit of a pain. So just like when you wash and wax your car, you know, the bead droplets, if there's a little dirt on it, you'll see a ring. And that's the same sort of effect here. If you really find you're having trouble moving the paint, you can add just a very small drop of dish soap, and that will remove the surface tension, and you can, you know, move the paint around quite a bit. So it's important to consider how the structure is positioned when you're applying the wash. You want the wash to go from the top to the bottom of the structure, because the bottom is where the dirt is going to collect. So if you kind of have the structure upside down, you're kind of doing it the backwards event. You were going to have more dirt at the bottom or the top of the structure. So just be careful of that. So when you're finished sort of washing it, you want to sit it in the upright position of the structure, the way the structure should be. And usually with this real small building, you can do the whole building, but sometimes when they're bigger, you can't really do all the walls at one time. So that's okay. You can just keep adjusting that. And if you use a hair dryer, you can dry them off and then, you know, handle the wall or the building. Now that's why we didn't put the roof on or anything yet, because we can slide our hand up into that building to make it a lot easier to handle. So capillary action, cupola action, whatever you want to call it, is the tendency of thin fluid to flow into the cracks. And we're going to use that technique for toning down our building. So one of the things, a little secret that was passed on to me was, if you wet the brush just with water and put it onto an area, and then when you apply your wash, it tends to stay in the area where the water was. It won't go into the drier area. And that's a kind of a neat trick when you're doing small details. You can really use that to an advantage. Okay. Patience, how long will it take? Well, it's a wash. So you're putting layers upon layers upon layers. So just take your time. You'll get to it. Don't be in a rush to do it. So we're going to start off at the bottom and do the foundation, and then we're going to do, you can do the concrete work sort of that's been patched over if you want. You can paint it a concrete color if you'd like, and you can also do the front trim. Now, our basic tools, you need a little palette and all the brushes and our little mixing cups that we suggested. Now, I like to use this little triangular brush. You can't, or angled brush. You really can't see it, but I like to use that for around the details. And the other one is just a straight, flat, square brush. Okay, now I buy these little shot glasses at the dollar store. They're great for mixing painting. And I turn them upside down, actually. I don't use them in the cup. So the first thing you want to do is you want to start, or the way I suggest you do it, is to make a wash and go over all the foundation. Now you'll notice on the inside of this, I tested the color. I wanted to see, make sure it was a wash. You can see up at the top, it was more of a paint. And then I tried it again till I got it to be fairly thin and a wash. You can do that on the inside because nobody's going to see it. All right. And now when you do that, do it on the bottom. Do not go all the way to the top, or do it from the roof end, because we need to color the roof part because some of it will be exposed. Then I take just full strength or a little bit of a wash and then do individual colors on the foundation. Okay. Now here's the building painted on the left. And then here's another one that they suggested painting it in this green where they fixed the stucco or repair work. Now, you can do the same thing on these lines here where they've got the repairs of the brick where they've just kind of, put cement over it. You can paint that gray if you like. I left it just blank, or the stonework color. Okay, now we're going to apply the washes to the brick. You can see in the little pointer, we've already done the bottom, so now we're going to just do the brick. And in the middle picture, we're using, the first color we're using is the Canyon Orange. Now, you can see in the middle where it's quite heavy compared to, say, towards the right side. That's okay, but if you want to even it out, just apply a little bit more water. And you can see I've done that whole side now, and it's fairly even. You can see how it sort of slides to the bottom and builds up around the bottom, and that's fine. All right, and in case, as I said, we've done the foundation, and we kind of want to work in the direction of the finger. That's the finger, final finger of fate award. And you want to move it away from that brickwork. And then you want to come down. You really want to come all the way down just to above that brickwork. But if you work from the foundation out a little bit, you'll have a less tendency to paint over the foundation. Okay, so the first layer is basically done. And we've gone all the way around the building. So now the second layer is a milk chocolate. And here it is. We put the first wash of milk chocolate on. You can start to see it's turning darker brown. You can really see the details now starting to pop out. Again, I wanted a little darker, so I went with a second layer. And then I let it dry a little bit. Now, I also painted the upper trim with a light gray. And I actually put another wash of brown on this again. So I actually did 3 layers myself because I wanted a little bit darker. Now, we're doing our third color. I'm using burnt umber here. And this should be very, very thin. There should be just enough color in it. Use a wide flat brush, and you're going to do the whole wall. You're going to do the foundation, everything. And what will that do? Well, it's going to close in any of the little white areas that maybe you missed because you didn't want to get too close to the foundation. And I like burnt umber as an application in this because it's a little warmer to your eye as compared to black. So I like that on the foundation as compared to the black, which is really a cold color. And it I don't know, I find the little warmer burnt umber in the foundation and that lighter color makes it just look nicer. That's my own personal comment. All right, so here's the third layer. You can start to see now some of the burnt umber, and you can see the details are really starting to pop. And you can see the burnt umber now has gone in the crevices for the foundation. Fourth layer. Use a little bit of black again. You're going to do the same process. You're going to do the whole wall. Now you're going to wait till every color is dry. You can use a hair dryer. It only takes 2 or 3 minutes to dry these little building off. And then you can apply the black. And again, you want it very thin. Black is very potent and will really show up on the model. Okay. Now you can add as much as you want to intensify the colors, or you can add more colors, or you can put more black on to make that building to what you like. That's one of the big advantages of doing a wash, but thin, you can apply it as many times as you want and it'll slowly get darker. Now, you also want to paint the inside of the structure on the roof to the lowest point, which is down here. Now, I just put a real light coat on this. You want to get it a little darker than this just to show you guys what's happening. And then you're going to let it dry. And at this point, we'll move on, and I'm going to try a little live video, and we'll see what happens. I want to show you how to actually do the paint. And I'm going to leave this one.
And he is going to a second computer, which is in the basement, I'm assuming. So,
all right, you guys got me?
yes.
Okay, so you can swap me over to the big picture, or whatever you call it.
Yeah, highlighting.
Yes.
Spotlighting, actually. There you go, Clark. You're all done. You're all
Woo.
ready.
All right. So what we're going to do, I'm just going to take my cup. As you can see, I turn it upside down, and because they got a little bit of a hollow in it, and I just put a little drop of orange on there and some water. Probably a little bit more water. And then I'm going to take a fairly flat brush and just kind of mix that up. And then again, we're going to just test, see how orange that is. That's way too thick. So we're going to add a lot more water. Now what you can do, I'm going to flood this, so I'll put some water over here. I'll just take some. So now, that's better. Okay, so now I haven't painted the brickwork, which is I don't know if you guys can see that, but you can see the foundation here. So we want to stay away from the foundation, just kind of paint up. Now you can see it's very, very light. Okay, and see how that water beads up a little bit? That's because of that sealant we put on. Now, if you do get it on really heavy, not a problem. Put some water on, move it around. And you can even use your finger and kind of smoosh it around and get it fairly even. Okay, does that make sense? So that's how you're going to do all the other colors, basically. You're going to let them dry, and we'll just keep applying them. As you can see on this one, we've got a nice shade of brown, and you can see where the patches are. And we have the black is coming through. And down here, we have all the foundation done. And, you know, I've highlighted a few of the bricks. Okay. And that's where we'll stop. Now, make sure, as I said, you paint the inside. You should be, this is the lowest point here. So you should be about a good 1/4 inch down, straight across, so that you're painting that whole inside. Okay. So next week, we will come back, and or whenever we're scheduled, and we're going to talk about some signage, putting the roof on, and the doors. And that's it for tonight. Any questions?
Yeah, if you wanted to paint the stucco, it seems like that would be kind of challenging because you've got to be really careful about only painting on the stucco itself. Is that true?
Actually, it goes pretty good. It's pretty easy. You know, it is raised a bit. See, here's another one. It is raised a bit, so it's easy to do. It's, you know, I mean, it's like anything. It's a little practice and a little bit of here. Let's see. I will do actually one side of it. Now, when you're doing that stucco, you want the paint a little thicker because then you have better control that it's not going to run.
So do you do the stucco before or after the brick?
I do it after.
Okay.
Because here, let me get some water. So you want it, I won't say full strength. Now you're gonna have to screen share or make me the focus again there, Zoom master.
You already are.
Okay. So you can see here, and so you just paint a little. You know, that's it.
So is that a thicker wash you just put on there?
Yeah, that's not full strength paint, but it's probably about 60% paint. Okay.
And
That's it. That's all there is to it.
what color did you use on the foundation again?
I used sort of a neutral gray, or well, actually, this one's a little bit of a greeny gray. It's called prairie sage, but a light natural gray is all you need.
Hey Clark, have you looked at using Hunterline stains for that? Because it seems to me, from what you're describing, is it seems like it would work pretty well.
No, it will not. As much as I love the Hunters, this is not the paint to use or a stain to use on this at all.
Why is that?
Because with stain, once it goes in, you cannot get rid of it. And because of the sealant, that alcohol base will just sit on the surface of this. It really doesn't penetrate. Like, it's like the plastic, it will just sit there. And you really need the extra pigment in order to do it properly. All right. Now that is almost dry again. And you can see, you can put another coat. It's a little wet. You can see it's sort of glossy there, but you know, that looks good. And you can just go along and do that. But yeah, as much as I love Rick and Maureen, I'll be honest, their stains have a place, but not on this.
What about the product that they were talking about where they put pigment in there?
I don't think it would work. I really don't believe that that's the material for this. I really don't.
Okay.
Any other questions?
What's been the hardest part of the build for you so far, Clark?
Waiting for the kit to come. I mean, I built a number of these and they're very straightforward. The biggest thing with these is for the painting, you know, like here's this other one where you've got all this brickwork, and then or actually that's like random stone up here, and then you got brick, and then you got all this stucco sort of put over it. It's really just layering. And if you there's no windows in this door, so there's no need to cut it out. I just paint it black. But you know, all this brickwork, that it's just time consuming, and there's no real trick to it. Hold on, I have another building.
How many buildings do you have?
Tons. That's my unfortunate, my soft spot is buildings. Okay, so here's another one that's just got its first layer on, and this has got 4 stores in it. So that's actually 1, 2, 3, and 4. So they've just got the first layers on. I haven't got to the burnt umber to tone anything down yet. All right. And you can see you don't need it too even, because once you pull in that burnt umber to take it out. Now here's one. Here's all the stucco around the back of this building, around the brick. All right. But when you tone it down with that burnt umber, and then put another 2 or 3 layers of that on, and then a black wash, that will tone all this down. Okay. Now just please hold 1 second while I go and get something else. I want to show you a finished one that I've done. Sorry about that, you guys, but I'm in two different rooms. I'm in the layout room, and then, so this is now an N scale one of that same building. Okay.
Hmm.
And of course, all the signage and stuff.
I got a
All right.
question from the chat room wanting to know what kind of intermission music that we should be playing while you go to the other room.
Actually, it should be a pizza commercial. Mhm. But that's the that's an N scale version of that other one I showed you that I haven't put any, it just got the first wash on it. Any other questions?
Well, Clark, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. You're really opening a lot of eyes, I think, potential for these kits. And I really do appreciate you doing this.
Oh, you're welcome. I've enjoyed doing this. I haven't built one for, I don't know, a couple of years, but they're really pretty easy. They go together very, very easy. And the big thing is just to be able to paint them. And once you get the hang of painting them and kind of weathering them down, I think you'll enjoy building them. And they have a fantastic series of structures. So try it, you'll like it, and go from there.
Thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you next week.
All right.